Devil fruits. Mystical fruits theorized to spawn from a combination of desire, imagination, and reflection of evolution. These fruits, when eaten, give the person first consumed it some type of power, whether it be the strength of an element, an animal, or even something as bizarre as strings. No matter how good or bad a fruit, it'll give you powers at the cost of your ability to swim and an aversion to the sea. Now, one of the things about devil fruits is that they change the eater's lineage factor, DNA in One Piece, which is why Vegapunk was able to create devil fruits from DNA, like the artificial dragon zone from Kaido's DNA, and the artificial swim sim fruit from Senior Pink's. Though, as we have seen from Big Mom, even if eating a fruit does change your genetic makeup, it does not mean that ability gets passed on to your child. Big Mom had her fruit since she was on Rocky's crew, and she has had many, many children since then. Though, none of them have been able to reproduce the powers of the Soul So fruit, many even having their own devil fruit powers. But just because the power of a fruit does not directly pass on to the child does not mean having a devil fruit can affect them in some way. First off, let's look at zone fruits. Zones allow the eaters to transform into some type of organism. You've only seen animals, humans included, but there's a chance we may see some type of other living organisms like a plant zone or a bacteria. Now, my theory is mostly on the basis of the structure or makeup of a pregnant mother affecting the developing child in the womb, but we can apply the same logic of my thought process to other fruits. Though I will say we already know having a zone itself does not directly affect the child. For example, Kaido ate his fruit 38 years ago at God Valley, and Yamato is 28. She was able to eat a devil fruit and didn't showcase any dragon-like features or abilities. And just in case you're wondering, her horns were a byproduct of coming from the Oni race, which you still don't know anything about, just in case you thought that might be a sign. Though, what if at conception, yes, kinda weird, but stay with me, what if the fruit user was transformed into their hybrid form, father or mother? And what if the mother, while pregnant, spends most of her time, in this case she's the devil fruit eater, what if she spends most of her time transformed, if not all? Would that have any effect on the child? And if they stay in their full form, let's say they had a bear zone, would they give birth to cubs? If they were in hybrid, would the kids come out looking like Kuma with bear ears? Because apparently those are real bear ears. But anyway, there's Logias and special paramecias, possibly. Specifically the fruits that change the makeup of your body and like the structure of it. Let's focus on Logias for now. See, when you eat a Logia, it's more than just obtaining elemental powers. You become an element. You become fire, you become ice. So what happens if a woman who ate a Logia becomes pregnant? It's not just some genetic change, you become something else. Your makeup has to become drastically different. So if you had a child with a normal human, the child would be half human, half element. So they're a lot more likely to have been affected by their parent, either one, having eaten a devil fruit. And keep in mind, there hasn't been any Logia wielding parents in One Piece, at least that we know of. Now, think about a child in the womb. Let's say a mother had the ice or magma fruit. The child would be developing in an environment with extreme conditions, either in the blistering heat of magma or the freezing chill of ice. Even if the child doesn't come out with a temperature that's hot or cold to the touch, it doesn't mean that they won't be affected in some way. At most, they might actually have some ability to transform their bodies into an element. At least, it seems very likely that they'd be able to survive in conditions mimicking the fruit that their mother had. Like if a child was born from a mother who ate the Hiei no Mi, they'd be able to survive in an Arctic region no problem, and wouldn't succumb to the temperature. They would have been born from the cold. And what about a child who had a mother who ate the magma fruit? They'd be able to survive in sweltering, thermometer melting regions as if it was nothing. And I mean, it's One Piece, so, maybe they'd soak in lava like it was a hot tub or something. And then there's normal and special paramecia. It's possible a similar effect to a Logia's child could happen to a special paramecia. Let's look at Katakuri, for example, because with Katakuri, he wasn't a Logia, but he could manipulate in his body in a way that could be mistaken for such. So it could be in a similar vein, because he was made of mochi, but he wasn't a Logia. So how would that affect his child? Would they be mochi, or would they just maybe have skin that tastes like mochi? Keep them away from grandma in that case, because she's already got a track record for this type of thing. We don't want a repeat of Mother Caramel. Is that her name, Mother Caramel? Whatever, you know what I'm talking about. Big Mom's a cannibal. Anyway, someone else in the Big Mom crew, Oven, If he was a woman, let's say with her heat could generate an environment similar to that of a fire or lava logia, with the child similarly developing in a hot environment. Though, if there were to be a child affected by their parents' devil fruit, it would most likely be the child of a logia. But yeah, that's the video. Comment down below if you've noticed any possible effect a parent who ate a devil fruit might have had on their child, or any possible circumstances where the effects of a fruit were to likely affect a child. Yeah. Have a good day. Peace.